Hey everybody, welcome to today's video. Let me share with you my last 5 years in the Navy. So if you're new to my channel, I graduated high school June of 2012, started a business selling products online, went to community college full-time studying real estate, and I did that for about 2 years. And I remember sitting down in my school's library, writing my English paper and just saying to myself, this isn't so fun anymore. My business failed. My academics was suffering. I was failing and withdrawing classes because my attention was focused elsewhere. And I just remember being very disappointed at myself and just thinking like, this isn't the type of person I thought I would become when I graduated high school. Like, what in the world am I doing wrong? Like, what do I need to do? And at that moment, a thought popped up and it said, when nothing goes right, go left. So as a business-minded person where time equals an X amount of money, where money is the variable, I said, well, what's the opposite of that? The opposite of that is a set pay. Okay, I don't want to have a 9-to-5 job. I already have that. I'm working at Hollister and Abercrombie and Fitch. So what are some of the better options out there? Something new, something different that I never thought about doing, which was the military, right? My brother was in the Army National Guards and my cousin went to the Air Force. So I said, okay, I want to do something a little bit different and let me join the Navy. And so I looked at my options and decided to be a logistics specialist. So I left for boot camp on June 2nd at the age of 21. And I just remember as I was leaving home, I'm crying, my parents are there, I'm hugging them. And I just said to myself, I'm just going to do my 5 years and get out. At the same time, the most important thing is I just want to be the best version of myself, right? Remembering where I came from, right? That's not who I want to be when I get out, right? I was failing in everything that I was doing, but within my time in the military, I want to reinvent myself, change myself. And when I get out, I want to be somebody who's excelling, succeeding in everything that I do, right? Working extremely hard. So left for boot camp at the age of 21, June 2nd, turned 22, June 3rd, first day of boot camp. Did that for 2 months, went to my A school as a logistics specialist in Meridian, Mississippi for 2 months, and went to my ultimate command, which was the USS Abraham Lincoln CVN-72, an aircraft carrier. When I thought about joining the Navy, I thought I'd be able to travel the world, be on a ship, be on a helicopter, be on work on jets and do all these cool and crazy stuff, which if you are very lucky on a scale of 1 to 10, if you are very lucky, you can get that 10 out of 10 military experience, whatever you define your military experience to be. You can, if you are very lucky, get that 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, right? You can work with cool people. You can have a cool job and you can be in a cool working environment, right? If you are very, very lucky. But on the other end of the spectrum, when there's good things, there are bad things, right? And definitely for me, I wouldn't say I was a 1, but I definitely got, I would say right about a 3 on the spectrum. And one thing that I want to say is I'm not saying I've had the worst experience, right? But there is no other military YouTubers out there that have gone through what I have gone through. They cannot even fathom this. They cannot even imagine what I went through, right? Because they've had such a close to a 10 out of 10 military experience that to try to understand a 3 out of 10 military experience, they can't, right? Because when I went to my ship, an aircraft carrier can be used for 50 years. And in between, at the 25-year mark, is a shipyard period called Reactor Complex Overhaul, RCOH. And I went at the back half of RCOH, and at that time, it doesn't matter what rank you are, what rate you are, you could have been an ET, CT, HM, LS, CS, PS, YN, I could go down the list, ETN, MMN, right? It doesn't matter what rate you are. It doesn't matter, you could have been in for a year, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, from E1 to E6. Your job is to do shipyard work. The first video that you're seeing is me 2 years in as an E3, breaking the floors, grinding the deck to replace the deck, right? And the next video that you're seeing was me a month ago as an E5, 5 years in, breaking the floors, grinding the deck, working alongside with LPOs, E6s that are managing 50 people, working alongside first classes that have been in for 19 years that are about to retire next year. And I'm emphasizing this because during that time, as I was making these videos, a lot of the older YouTubers that have been in for a while have been coming into my videos and saying like, hey, once you make rank, it gets better. The longer you stay in, it gets better. But they have not a clue. They don't understand because they've had such a good military experience. They don't know the bad side of the Navy. They don't know the butt crack side of the Navy, the things that they don't want to show you on the commercials, the things they try not to show you in the media, in the public, the things that you will never see in the movies. And that was my first 2.5 years. So I am in a Newport News shipyard environment, which is a very unique working environment. I have a job. I'm more of a construction worker. At the same time, the people that I'm working with are what I would categorize as low quality people. If I owned a McDonald's franchise, and I'm not knocking McDonald's, I'm a shareholder in McDonald's. I would love to own and operate a McDonald's franchise. If I owned a McDonald's and these people that I used to work with came to me and said, hey, Kim, can I work at your McDonald's? I will say no, because you're not even worth $1 an hour. I don't even want you to clean my toilets for free because you're not a trustworthy person. Right? You're going to do more harm than good, even if you're working for free, right? For example, if I tasked these people, like, hey, this cup, put it into the sink. It's about 10 feet. I'll give you an hour to do it. You come back an hour. They'll give you 10, 20, 30 different excuses as to why they couldn't do it. They have nothing going on, but they couldn't do it because of all these excuses. And it was so frustrating at that time having to work with these people, that these people are my equivalent, right? It was a very humbling experience, I will say that, because when you join the military, it doesn't matter what your past was, where you came from, right? All that matters is the uniform that you wear and the rank that you have. And it was super frustrating because within a day you're given a task, right? And there are bad people, but there are also good people, right? Good people who are worth the money that the military is paying. And so we'd get our job done, and then we come back at the end of the day, and the low quality people obviously didn't get their job done, or they got it done in a very crappy way, and we'd have to go back and kind of redo their work or do their work for them. And for years they went unpunished, and it was super frustrating. Like, am I the only one? Like, can no one see this, right? And the upper chain of command was at that same time was also low quality people. So they protected these junior sailors, which I understand. When you're brand new to the Navy, you kind of understand where they came from because they were also low quality people. So they stay in for a while, become LPOs, become upper chain, and they kind of protect these junior sailors from the bad decisions they make. But over time, like I've been in for 5 years now, I can see that they actually they shoot themselves in the foot basically by, doing drugs, drinking under the influence, and just doing the craziest things that you could ever imagine, and get themselves kicked out and be in trouble with the law. So over time, they do get filtered out. Not all of them, not thoroughly. Some of them kind of mature a little bit over time, but they're still out there doing more harm than good. So put yourself in my perspective a little bit. You join the Navy to do cool stuff. You're used as a construction worker. You're working in a shipyard environment, and you're working with people who are the most frustrating people in the world. And it created such a low morale for me back then. And as it was for everybody else that was working with me during the shipyard period, because like I said, it's a 5 to 6 year process. So within a 4 to 5 year contract, for some people, this was everything that they knew. And I came at the back half of the shipyard period. And guys, shipyard life is a very difficult and hard life, okay? Hands down, shipyard is a very difficult and hard life. And at that time, the Navy, it was like late 2016, early 2017, the Navy decided to go on this PRT crusade. During that time, and even arguably still now, the Navy has a problem where there's so many sailors that are just not physically fit. Right, this has been a long-standing problem, and I don't know who came up with this idea or who thought this was a good idea. So they have this problem. A lot of people are not physically fit, and at that time, the current rule is if you fail your physical readiness test 3 times, you're going to get kicked out. right? And they said, you know what, let's change the rules and let's make it 2 times, right? This is going to either motivate people or, we're going to get rid of more people, right? And so instead of 3 failures, now there's 2, right? And every year you take physical fitness tests twice, right? It's every 6 months. So instead of three opportunities, now you only have 2. And during this time, there were so many people who unfortunately just couldn't. There's a lot of people that I knew, 19-year chiefs that got kicked out, 10-year people, 10-year first classes that got kicked out. Some were amongst my friends at that time that wanted to stay in the Navy that got kicked out. But during this time, because on my ship, the morale was so low, and not just my ship, across the whole Navy, so many people took advantage of this opportunity that the Navy gave them, and they purposely got themselves kicked out. So the Navy quickly realized their mistake, and instead of punishing people, now they reward people and say like, hey, if you pass your physical readiness test, you don't have to take the next one. During that time, I was so upset that I actually considered getting myself kicked out purposely to be out of the military. And at that time, I was talking to somebody, MM1 Brian, somebody that I highly respected. And if you are ever going through a tough time when you are in the military, I do highly recommend that you talk to somebody that you do respect, that you kind of do see an eye to eye, and they also understand, who you are, where you came from, and what you're feeling. And MM1 Brian at that time was the person for me. And I remember just saying everything that I told you to him. And he said, you gave your word to this organization that you will proudly serve. And if you purposely get yourself kicked out, then how good is your word? And when he said that, it really hit me. Because to a lot of people, their word, like the low quality people, their words don't mean anything, right? They can say like, oh yeah, I'll get that done in an hour, but 10 hours later, they still don't have it done, right? They'll promise you the world, but they won't even give you $1 in their pocket, right? Their words mean absolutely nothing. But to me, my word means something. My work ethic means something. And so I said, you know what? He's absolutely right. And that was kind of the turning point for me, because up until then, everything was just going down. And when he said that and I was talking to him, that's the pivoting moment where it kind of turned and it started to change for me, because I had to change my perspective of how I kind of looked at things. And so within my 3 years, I worked extremely hard every single day, because that's the type of person that I am, and I care about what I do, right? I care about the product. The Navy pays me, well, I better be worth the money that the Navy is paying me. The Navy got a good deal when they signed me up, right? For every $1 that they spent on me, I gave them $10 back of work, right? For every $1 that the Navy spent on these low quality people, they actually lost $10. Right? The Navy got a good deal. I worked extremely hard, and within my 3 years, my hard work did not go unnoticed, right? It did get noticed, right? I did get many awards. I did get a Navy Achievement Medal within my first 3 years. I did get recognitions. And I built such a great reputation that I became a person that everybody kind of wanted. I wasn't their number 1 pick, but definitely number 2, number 3 pick. So when it came time, when we got out of the shipyards, now we're doing kind of what's called workups, where we're getting ready for deployment. There's different inspections, there's different tests, and there's, squadrons, there's different planes and aircrafts are coming on board, so we're training with them, right? I was picked to do aviation supply. And because I worked hard every single day, everybody came to me with work, and it got to the point where I literally didn't have a single second to myself. Right? When I tell you I didn't have a single second, I literally did not have a single second to myself to check Facebook, to check the stock market, to talk to my family. None of that. Because how my day kind of looked was I wake up at 6:30, make my bed, brush my teeth, go into work at 7, go in a meeting, clean for an hour, come back at 9. From 9 to 12, I do a report, right? Paper report. It takes more than 3 hours. But at 12 o'clock, I would go down to the galley, towards the end of the chow hour, because towards the beginning of chow hours, everybody's going there. So there's a huge line. It's an hour and a half in line just to eat. And the cooks never make enough food to last throughout the whole meal period. And so by the end of it, when I go, there is no line and it's just scraps. So I just golf down whatever I can real quick, go up, get dressed, go up to the flight deck, to receive cod flights because planes come onto the ship. And like I said, I'm aviation supply within the ship, within the plane. There's different aviation supply that I need to get. And within my division, there was about 10 people. And out of the 10, only about 3 good people are qualified, including myself. The other 7 just chose not to get qualified because they're low quality. And out of the 3, I was the only one up there because somebody needed to go up there, and the other 2 were busy with other stuff. And so I would be the only one with people who are designated as their jobs, the ATO personnel. I was the only one up there, and I'd be humping tires and humping different boxes and stuff into the ship. And as a whole team, everybody would come up inside the ship and then put it where it needs to go. And then after I would do that for about 4 hours, I'd come back at 16, which is 4 p.m., come back, finish up my reports because different customers need to turn in parts to me, repairable parts to me, and I need to verify that, annotate it on my reports that I'm working on. And I would just do that day in and day out. And there was so many different things that I was also tasked with in the middle of the night and midnight. I need to wake up, be out for low visibility because during that time ships were crashing with each other. And so I need to be out there when it's thunderstorming in Florida. It's hot. And it was a miserable experience, and I was super frustrated. It just kept building up. And I would tell my chain of command, like, hey, lessen up my workload. And I was with them for a very long time. So they respected me very much, but they didn't respect what I was saying. And so it got to the point where I finally came up to my division officer and I said to him, like, sir, I'm out of here. I'm burnt out. I can't do this anymore. So imagine it from my division officer's perspective, right? He's been in for like 10 years. He's an officer. And E4, that's been in for about 3.5 years, comes to him and says, sir, I'm going somewhere else. And he obviously laughed and he said, you think the grass is greener on the other side? Like, where do you think you're going to go? I just remember telling him, like, sir, I'm burnt out. I don't like the people that I'm working with. I don't like my upper chain of command and supply. I'm going to a different department, right? I don't care. And I built such a great reputation at that time that everybody wanted me. So I went literally next door over to AIMD, Aviation Intermediate Maintenance Department, and I went to their chief, and their chief knew me because he knew how hard I worked and, the great reputation that I built within my time. And I told him, like, chief, like, this is what's going on. Can you help me out? Can you put me with your team? And he said, we'll gladly take you. And guess what? Within a week, I transferred over. And you know what? The grass was absolutely greener on the other side. So I joined AIMD late 2018, went to deployment with them on 2019 for an around-the-world cruise. It was literally called Around-the-World Cruise, which was a record-setting deployment for any aircraft carriers because no other aircraft carriers had been out to sea for 295 days. Other smaller ships have bigger records of being out to sea longer and all that kind of stuff, but for an aircraft carrier, 295 days was a record-setting deployment, and it was the most lackluster deployment in history because imagine with me, right, you're going cross-country, right? You start in Florida, at the bottom of Florida, in Miami, and you say, you know what, we're going to go all 50 states, different national parks, different landmarks, and we're just going to take the most amazing Instagram pictures and we're gonna have a great time, right? So you go up and you hit Disney World and it's like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. It's a start of a great adventure. And then all you hit are just gas stations from different states and you kind of end your trip there, right? So equivalent to that, my deployment, we left April 1st, went to Palma, Spain, amazing place, right? I just remember thinking like, oh my gosh, going on deployment, like this is why, right? We hit a different country every single month. Like this is why people stay in. This is why people say like the Navy is amazing. Like now I kind of understand, right? Why people stay in the Navy and why people, love traveling around the world with the Navy. Fortunately, we drew the short end of the stick because during that year, 2019, tensions with Iran started to build up. And so instead of going to Split, Croatia next, we kind of beelined all the way to the Middle East and we stayed there for 8 months. And within that time, we hit Duqm Oman, which was literally, basically they just got shipping containers in a big sand field in shipping containers, and that was the box that we literally could not leave. And there were 2 hotels that we could, only select few people. It's a lottery system that could go and stay there overnight for one night, but it was a very demoralizing experience. And we did that 3 times. We went to Duqm Oman 3 times, And towards the end, we went to Kingdom of Bahrain, which imagine like you're going to a gas station, normal gas station. Here's the pump and here's just a stall. Like that's Duke of Oman. Now, a Kingdom of Bahrain is like equivalent to, I would say, going to a Wawa or a Royal Farms, right? It's a little bit better, great experience. You go in there, there's some decent food, and you can move around here and back, here and there, but still just nothing like a vacation destination that Palma, Spain was. So it was very lackluster deployment, and then we hit Hawaii and then hit California soon after that. And so my whole Navy career was just filled with false hopes and false promises, right? When I first came in and got to the shipyards, the people who have been in for 10, 15, 20, 25 years, the first classes, the chiefs, the senior chiefs, the master chiefs, they said, hey, this is nothing like the Navy, right? This shipyard is nothing like the Navy. Just once you're out of the shipyards, it gets a lot better. We got out of the shipyards and it still sucked. And they said, hey, once you go on deployment and you get to go to all these different countries, it gets a lot better. We went on deployment. It was the world's longest deployment at 295 days when we hit 3 countries. And only out of those 3, only one of them was an actual vacation destination. So that sucked. And they said, hey, when you get to California, when we get to the West Coast, it gets a lot better. And we went to California and the whole world pandemic hit and nothing was open. Everything was closed. I was sitting outside the Liberty Center where we use the internet on the cement just to use some Wi-Fi, and I did that up until I left. I was sitting outside on the cement and I was scavenging, walking around just to use some Wi-Fi, and my morale was extremely low because even these places that we go to use Wi-Fi, they will either kick us out or we can even use the bathroom there to limit the amount of people exposure to the facility. And so it was a very depressing time, and so I made the best out of it because up until then I came in with $200. At that time I had $100,000, $110,000, $120,000. Now I have $130,000. I decided, you know what? Let me give it one more try. Let me do 3 more years. But because of the whole situation with the world, they said, hey, nobody can leave until the end of June. I was supposed to transfer April 1st, but I re-enlisted, signed up for a specialty school to leave for mid-May, but that school got canceled, and they said, all right, just wait until the end of June and you can transfer. Went to the end of June, and they said, hey, we take it back. Nobody can leave for 6 months to a year or wink, wink until the vaccine comes out. And so it was a very frustrating time for me, right? My whole career was just filled with false hopes, right? I made the best out of it, right? Financially, I made the best out of it. Career-wise, I came in E1, now I'm in E5. And so because every single day, no matter what, every single day, I genuinely cared about my work. I worked hard every single day. My chain of command within ARMD really fought for me. Without them, I would not be where I am right now in Maryland, quarantined. I wouldn't be where I am right now. I'd still be stuck in California where everything's closed and I'd be sitting on the cement just to use some Wi-Fi. And I truly am thankful for that chain of command because now I'm at the promised land and we'll see what happens within the next 3 years. But looking back now, when I told you, I wanted to be the best version of myself, I didn't know how that was going to look, but looking back, now I can see that it was through these challenges, these adversities, the frustrations, this humbling experience that the Navy forced me through. Not everybody goes through what I went through, right? Your military experience is going to be different from my military experience, but because my military experience was just so crappy and so challenging and so difficult and so frustrating that it's made me figure out who I was as a person. I stand up for the Navy core values of honor, courage, and commitment. When I gave my word to this thing, I kept my word. I work hard no matter what. No matter, there's frustrating people, I don't like the work I'm doing, I still work hard every single day. I genuinely care about what I do every single day. And through all this experience, it's made me such a better person. And I am on my way now to be successful, right? I have $130,000 now, but within the next 3 years, my goal is at a minimum get out with $250,000 to $500,000 and start a business, right? I'm learning a lot within the time that the military gave me, and I'm utilizing everything that I can to my advantage. And you know what? It's all thanks to the Navy, that the Navy gave me such a crappy, horrible experience, that I am so grateful for the person that I became, because through this adversity, not everybody comes out on top, but for me, I came out on top. And so, you know what? I have nothing but gratitude for my service, for my time, for this opportunity that the Navy gave me. But if the Navy came to me and said, hey, Kim, you have a choice. We're going to go back. We're going to put you back onto the ship for the next 5 years right now, or you give us all your $130,000. I'm going to give them $130,000, get out, and I'll just walk away. That's how much the military has scarred me. This 3 more years is the absolute last thing that I'm going to do. But that's, in a nutshell, how my last 5 years was, guys. And that's at the same time reason why I haven't been posting. I have been gone for a while, but I am back, and I am in my short command. I'm just currently under quarantine, but I am back, and I'm going to be focusing on YouTube again. And also, I do have a Discord link. If you want a more direct connection to me, I am on Discord very often. Feel free to join my community, and you can ask me, and we can chit chat, and we can talk about stocks, we can talk about YouTube channels, we can talk about the Navy, whatever you want. Come join my community. Link down in the description below. And it has been absolutely amazing sharing this journey with you, and thanks for watching. I hope you have a great Navy day, guys.